Hello and welcome to your IBM update for May 2024. A snapshot of news and views of what's been happening in the past 4 weeks in the IBM community as reported by Proximity, your premier partners for IBM support, software and solutions. So, on the 20th of May, the American IBM community enjoyed the Power Up conference in Fort Worth. IBM CTO Steve Will delivered the keynote speech, and luckily for us, Alex Woody of the 400 was there to report on what he heard. Now, during the keynote speech, Steve introduced the possibility of incorporating generative AI on the IBM platform. On this, he said, we decided what we really needed to do was to create a code assistant that could help programmers. So, exciting stuff. But what are the plans? Well, first, let's say what it's not going to be. Steve explained that they decided that he's pretty sure that an RPG to Java conversion tool is not the right thing to do for the customer base. What he believed the IBM community does want, however, is a Copilot code assistant. Steve went on to explain that what we decided that we really needed to do was to create a code assistant that could help programmers, not move from RPG to something else. Now, I'm paraphrasing here, but he explained that one of the biggest problems for a new programmer would be to, frankly, assess and support massive amounts of RPG easily, especially if it's coded in, say, RPG2. Even if it's well documented, to interpret and add to this code base would be both difficult and time consuming. The key to this Copilot would be to understand and provide contextual information plus support coding activities in both a generative sense and for application support too. So, how are IBM going to build this? Well, they create a large language model, or LLM powered coding assistants. LLMs are built on machine learning and so will be fed with all the iterations, idiosyncrasies and nuances of IBM and RPG so it can best assist. In fact, during his speech, Steve asked for donations of code from the community that will go into training the LLM. And with this foundation, the first task of the LLM will be to read and understand your code and interpret accordingly. So, if we cast our minds back to when Roberto de Pedrini first completed his ChatGPT trial for creating RPG, and this was covered in the March 2023 IBM update, this IBM Copilot would perhaps be better able to create code with it knowing the nuances of your RPG, your application data model, and your code base, and what you're trying to achieve in the confines of the specification against its understandings of your enterprise systems, APIs, databases, and perhaps other disparate systems too. I imagine it'll be like having the benefit of an old hand RPGer who's been building these systems for many years on hand to help and support and guide you, and you'll be able to speak with this old hand Copilot using natural language too. Steve went on to summarize the 3 AI use cases that they're working on. First, as discussed, was supporting code development through generative AI. Secondly, however, was an idea in DB2 data analytics. For example, the AI could sit next to a transactional stream, read the throughputs and build and notice trends to help you understand things, such as perhaps spikes in production, fraud, or any key indicators that you may need. With knowledge built, this in turn could lead to AI predicting events and therefore supporting preventative actions. Very, very nice. And finally, in ongoing operations, AI could monitor and react appropriately to operational alerts. So that announcement was from the American Power Up 2024 event in Fort Worth. The European equivalent comes to Milan at the beginning of June, and I took time to catch up with Torbjörn Appehl, the Vice Chairman for Common Europe, to speak about the upcoming event. So, Torbjörn, thank you for joining the IBM I Update.
Well, thank you for inviting me. And this is, I really like your update videos. Always spread them in my network, my newsletter and all that. So thanks for doing that, Mandy.
That's not a problem. I appreciate it. First, can you provide an overview of the Common Europe Congress 2024 and its significance within the IBMI community?
So yes, Common Europe Congress 2024, it's not our first, right? So we started, I think the organization started in the 60s even, and have been doing at least since early 90s, doing annual conferences. But anyhow, we are growing a lot the last couple of years, which is really, really nice. I think the pandemic was special, of course, but even before pandemic, we usually attracted 200 participants or so. We grew it to 300, and last year was even 400, and I'm really hoping to get this at least 400 this year as well.
It's going to be quite an exciting event, but 2023 in Prague was really quite special with many hundreds of visitors. What do you think can be done to top last year's event?
It is difficult, of course, but to just keep the same atmosphere, and we have a lot of the core speakers will be there, and they are really good international, the best speaker you can find, actually, right?
Yes.
And you have some IBM executives, you have the product offering managers from IBM, you have local speakers, local from Europe, which is also where we're focusing on, right? So we just don't want to just bring Americans to come here and tell us what to do and how to do it, right? But to find the experts, and we have a lot of them in Europe as well. So I would say that is what we do, and also try to find new speakers, new experts, and so on. And also helps with being in Milan, right? Italy, and they have the atmosphere, you have the food, have the wine, have the shopping, people that like shopping, and of course Milan is the capital of that. So I'm quite sure we do a really good conference this year as well.
Common Europe is known for its stellar speaker lineup, but is there any particular speaker in which you yourself are particularly looking forward to seeing?
Well, of course, as I mentioned, we have the chief architect, Bill Starkey, will be there, and we have others from the US, but also, as I mentioned, some European speakers and some customers. And this is what I like the most, because we are a user group and we should not forget about that.
Look forward to that myself. It's always good to hear the voice of the people who are actually using the technology. Education, it's always been a focus of the Congress, but could you please provide a little bit more detail on the main areas you're perhaps concentrating on in this year?
Well, again, we are spread out, but what we do this year, this is nothing new, but we do offer a pre-conference workshops, right? So if you want to learn something more and you want to get your fingers dirty, you arrive on Monday and you sign up for the 3 hours deep dive or workshop, depending on what we call them. But this is what you learn. Well, of course, .NET on Power. This is one thing Paul Chapman did last year as well. For some people are interested in nowadays you can run your .NET applications on Power. Also learn about application modernization, of course, Visual Studio for code for IBMI and so on, and microservices and all that. So that is what you have in the workshops, and then you have, again, a big variety on the smorgasbord of different sessions.
Now, is there any additional information you would like to share with the potential attendees?
I would just encourage people to go, because I mean, we can see a lot of people are coming every year, and that's for a good reason. But if you've never been and you don't really know what it is, go and check for yourself, because you would probably be there next year again. If you're an end customer and you have some issues, right, bring your problem.
Oh no, and I can vouch for that. As while I was there last year, I had people going, "Oh, you're the guy from the IBMI update," and they were asking me questions. I said, "Well, I don't know, but I know the chap just round that corner. He deals in like things." So, and we got their answers. You know, they said, "Oh, thanks, Andy. I had a chat with him, and he solved what I was looking for."
The same for me, right? Everybody goes to me; they think I'm the expert, and I'm IBM's power champion and all that. Well, I know a lot, right? But especially, just like you said, I know others that knows. So, and this is again, networking is key. I cannot say that enough because it's so good.
Thank you very much for the preview of the Common European Congress 2024 in Milan. I'm very much looking forward to going and meeting you there.
Yes.
Now, and on behalf of the IBMI update, thank you.
Thank you so much, Andy. Bye-bye.
And my thanks to Torbjörn for spending the time with me. And before we call it a day, I found a video floating around social media that I thought you might be interested in. The video was from the Microsoft Devcast in 1993. In this video, we see a very much younger Satya Nadella, then the technical marketing manager, telling us how we can extract data via ODBC from the AS400 into a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet. It's a cracking bit of history and demonstrates really how robust this technology was 30 years ago, and indeed how we've moved forward since. The whole video is available on the internet should you be interested or simply nostalgic. And that's it for the May 2024 edition of the IBMI Update. I do hope I see you at some of the upcoming events. But for now, if you want to see more like this, please see our blog on the Proximity website. I'm Andrew Nicholson, we're Proximity, the IBMI partners that are in your corner. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.